box of 3 bears?
Something. I feel like that's a jam. And I've got gratitude that I'm on. All right. Gratitude is one of those cool things that unites everybody. Unites everybody on this planet. We talk about that we're all God's kids. Every single spiritual being wearing a USDA meat suit for a few decades on a spinning ball of mud. We know that we're all God's kids. And then somewhere in our minds, we start to look for what divides us instead of what unites us. We say, wow, but there's Christians, and there's Muslims, and there's Jewish folks, and there's Muslims, and there's Buddhists, and there's, let's separate. We've got Democrats and Republicans, and we've got this, and we've got that, and we start looking at all the things that may divide us. Gratitude is one of those things that unites us, that takes us all in, every single one of God's kids on this entire planet, and says, you're all the same. You're all, gratitude is good for you and you and you and you and you, and there's not a person on this planet we can point to and say gratitude isn't good for that person. It absolutely unites us, to the point that I even brought notes. Now, I don't even bring notes, but I brought notes because this was cool. Knowing that this week's sermon was on gratitude, I really wanted to roll up my shirt sleeves because I love to challenge myself, and I think that I know gratitude, but then I want to know it more, and I want to know it more. And so part of it I got to learn, and part of it I got to live, and so I'm going to share both with you. Gratitude, thankfulness, gratefulness, or appreciation is an emotion or attitude in acknowledgement of a benefit that one has or will receive. That sounds pretty simple, but before I started by saying, how would I define gratitude? Thanksgiving's coming up this week. How would I actually define gratitude? How would you define gratitude? Now this, I found the Achilles heel of gratitude that trips up a lot of folks, so I want to share it with you. There was actually a major psychological study done about gratitude, and the one thing where people got their wires crossed is when they confused gratitude with indebtedness. Gratitude is not the same as indebtedness. While both emotions occur following help, indebtedness occurs when a person perceives that they are under an obligation to make some repayment of compensation for the aid. The emotions lead to very different actions. Indebtedness motivates the recipient of aid to avoid the person who helped them, whereas gratitude motivates the recipient to seek out their benefactor and improve their relationship with them. Now this is really, really key with our relationship with God, with our relationship with each other, with our relationship with every person that will ever help and every person who has ever helped us. When we feel inside indebted in that gratitude, psychologically speaking, we will avoid them because we don't want to be reminded that we're in debt to somebody. Now imagine how this translates in your relationship with God. If you feel grateful to God, but you feel indebted to God, you're going to sneak away. But instead, if you have gratitude, where you love God and you're so happy and you don't feel indebted, you'll actually seek Him out to improve the relationship. Now think about this for a second, because with the people in your lives who you've helped, do they feel indebted to you? If they do, psychologically speaking, they're going to run away. If they don't feel indebted, they will most likely seek you out to make the relationship even better. This was to me just a jaw-dropping wow as I was really rolling up my shirt sleeves and studying gratitude this week. The next was that throughout all the different world religions, how each one spoke to its group, its people, about gratitude. In Judaism, gratitude is an essential part and act of worship and part of every aspect of the worshiper's life. According to the Hebrew worldview, all things come from God, and because of this, gratitude is extremely important to the followers of Judaism. The Hebrew scriptures are filled with idea of gratitude. Two examples included in the Psalms are, O Lord my God, I will give thanks to you forever, and I will give thanks to the Lord with my whole heart. The Jewish prayers often incorporate gratitude in the beginning, where the worshiper states that out of gratitude you shall love eternal your God with your heart and your soul and all your might. Deuteronomy 6:5. Now this may sound familiar to a lot of Christians because, gosh, that Torah is the Old Testament, so it's kind of like the opening act of the Bible, you know. So the Jewish folks, I mean, that's just amazing how big a part of Judaism gratitude is. Now moving into Christianity, gratitude is said to mold and shape the entire Christian life. Martin Luther referred to gratitude as the basic Christian attitude, and today it is referred to as the heart of the gospel. As each Christian believes they were created by a personal God, Christians are strongly encouraged to praise and give gratitude to their Creator. In Christian gratitude, God is seen as the selfless giver of all good things, and because of this, there's a great sense of gratitude that enables Christians to share a common bond, shaping all aspects of a follower's life. Gratitude in Christianity is acknowledgement of God's generosity and inspires Christians to shape their own thoughts and their own actions around such ideals. Instead of simply a sentimental feeling, Christians' gratitude is regarded as a virtue that shapes not only emotions and thoughts, but actions and deeds as well. Now, we may think that they've got a monopoly on it, but no, they don't. In Islam, in the Quran, the Islamic book, the Quran, is filled with ideas of gratitude. Islam encourages its followers to be grateful and express thanks to God in all circumstances. Islamic teachings emphasize the idea that those who are grateful will be rewarded with great pleasures. A traditional Islamic saying states, "The first who will be summoned to paradise are those who have praised God in every circumstance." The Quran is also stated in Surah 14 that those who are grateful will be given more pleasures by God. The Prophet Muhammad said, "Gratitude for the abundance that you have received is the best assurance that that abundance will continue." Many practices of the Islamic faith encourage gratitude. The Pillar of Islam, calling for daily prayer, encourages believers to pray to God 5 times a day in order to thank Him for His goodness. And it's like this throughout every religion on the planet. It teaches their people, hey, we've got this neat pathway to God. It's called gratitude. Now we've got it because we're Christian. No, we've got it because we're Jewish. No, we've got it because we're Islam. No, we've got it because we're New Thought folks. Oh no, we've got it because we're Native American. We all have it. And every one of the world religions teach their people the importance of gratitude. Now taking it beyond religion into the psychology, the physiology, the sociology of the brain. We're all human, right? It's called human psychology because we share it. So this is, just a large body of recent work has suggested that people who are more grateful have higher levels of well-being. Grateful people. Now this is according to a psychological study, actually a series of psychological studies published. I just love it. Grateful people are happier, less depressed, less stressed, and more satisfied with their lives and their social relationships. Grateful people also have higher levels of control over their environments, personal growth, purpose in life, and self-acceptance. Grateful people have more positive ways of dealing and coping with difficulties that they may experience, being more likely to seek support from other people, reinterpret it and to grow from the experience, and spend more time planning how to deal with the problem. Grateful people also have less negative coping strategies. They are less likely to avoid the problem, deny the problem, blame themselves, or cope through a substance use. Grateful people sleep better, and it seems this is because they think less negative and more positive thoughts just before going to sleep. Now it continues on with a whole bunch of other stuff. One of the quotes that I found, I loved it, said, "Gratitude is not only the greatest of all virtues, but the parent of all others." Now, this week, if you ever want to give a sermon on something, let me know. And I'll pass the word on to God so that He can give you the lessons that you're going to be talking about that Sunday. No, just kidding. It's not bad lessons. It's good stuff. It's really good stuff. But this week, I've been trying to get together with my buddy Mark for a month to go on a simple boat ride, just to hang out with my buddy. And every time that we would try to connect was 10 minutes before I was getting ready to do something, or 10 minutes before he had to go do something. Got a phone call from him. He said, "Man, I hate to keep bugging you." What I'm talking about, man. I am so grateful that Mark kept bugging me, because it wasn't bugging me at all. It was just trying to find a time that our schedules matched up. But how many times do we give up because the schedules haven't matched up, and we gave it 1, 2, or 3 calls, whatever my limit is, and if it hasn't happened at that point, there's probably a mixed message being sent somewhere, so I'll just back off. I was so grateful that Mark knew me better than that our friendship was more than that he kept calling until the time that our schedules did match up. And then I was equally as grateful that I had the time in my day, that day, nothing else scheduled. Yeah, I can come. I'll be there in 20 minutes. And we went and we enjoyed, and it was nature, and it was beautiful, and it was cool. And even though I'm new to Florida, I bet because that afternoon I've seen things in this state that a lot of folks who have lived here for a long time haven't. Because if you haven't been out with Mark on that boat, going through these airboat trails, in a time that's only there for a couple of months a year, the rest of the time is dry land, you can't even get there, by boat. But I got to experience all of this. And I was so thankful. But I was so thankful that my buddy didn't give up on me. I was so thankful that God gave the time in my schedule that I could go do that. I could go be part of that. Grateful. Well, the last couple of weeks, Steve has been here in the back. He didn't have access to a car today, so he didn't get here, unfortunately. But earlier this week, I got a phone call from Steve, and Steve volunteers down at the Veterans Center down here. And Steve called me up and he said, "Scott," he said, "I got somebody just walked in. Maybe you can help." Now, as we know, Veterans Day was just last Friday. He said, "I got a guy walked in who's a vet, good guy, used to be a chef down in the village, fell in some hard times. Can you help out? He's homeless. He's got clothes on his back. He hasn't eaten in a few days. I've got limited access to limited things that I can do here at the Veterans Center. That's not really what we're set up to do. But I knew I could make some phone calls. Is there anything you can do to help?" And the first thing that went through my mind was all the things I couldn't do. Gosh, if we were a bigger church, we could do da-da-da-da-da. But if this I could do, and if that I could do, and the beauty of that whole thing is it went through my mind in a millisecond. A millisecond. It was replaced with, "God, what can we do? What can we do?" We've got a God box back here, and every week, whatever comes in the offering plate, we take 10%, we put it in the God box, and it's there to help whoever needs help. So I knew that we had access to some money. And I was mighty grateful for that. And then I started looking in my closet, and I had more than one pair of shoes, which meant that I had a pair I could give away. And then I started looking for some warm clothes and realized that I had more than I could wear at any one time. And I started looking through some old camping gear and saw sleeping bags. Well, then I went through the cupboards and I found food, and I found some more food, and I found some more food, and I found some can openers. That's always a key thing. And I found these different things, and I started to look, and I started to see, and I just put myself in this man's situation, even though I didn't know him, and I didn't know his situation yet. I said, if I found myself suddenly homeless, and this is what I owned, what would I need? And I went through the house, and I picked up anything that I thought I would need in that situation. Not what I could give, but what I would need. You know, those television shows where you get the shopping cart, you get 5 minutes to run through the store and get whatever you need, you know, and you total it up at the end. I tried to picture my life kind of like that if I let the man in the house and I hand him a grocery cart and I said, just run around, take whatever you need, what would he fill up his cart with? If I was the homeless guy, I am that, I am. And I was given access with my own grocery cart, what would I do? What would I run through the house? What would I get? Food, shelter, clothes, these things. Most of all, I would get hope. I would get gratitude. I would understand that I wasn't in it alone. I would understand that I wasn't bad. I wasn't less than. I wasn't being punished. That I was a child of God. First, my circumstances second. So I stopped and I meditated and I prayed. And as I prayed, I connected with the spirits, with the souls of every person who comes here, my Connections family. And I prayed and I connected to you guys and I connected to God. And I said, guys, what can we do? What can we do? Well, I found some money, we found some sleeping bags, we found some clothing, we found some this, we found some that, and then I was thinking, man, if I was in that situation, the hardest thing would be just carrying it around. How do you carry all this stuff? Well, I found this really big, really thick canvas bag that was big enough to hold everything. And I was so excited because packing it, it all fit. Now this was enough stuff that for me personally, I could start a new life. Clothes for interviews, clothes for grubbing around in, clothes for food, ways to cook the food, shelter, warmth, sleeping bag, coats, boots, all the physical things that I needed. And a Bible, and some rocks for some good vibrations. Blessed with prayers. And I got all this together. We all got this together. Because I didn't do it alone. Now Mary was at work and Mary had the truck, so Scott has a motorcycle. So God and I had a little conversation about how I was going to get this big heavy bag with all this good stuff over to the Veterans Center. And God and I figured out that if we put it on the gas tank, just as we got going, we lifted the knees up so the knees held it up because it stuck out about this far. It was about this big.
Santa.
Yes, Santa.
Kind of like Santa. And we cruised down the road and we cruised into the center and we got to meet a gentleman named Ray Ray. Now the first thing I would ask is that all of you include Ray, goes by Ray Ray, in your prayers. Now the first thing, before the bag ever came out, is I got to meet the guy. I got to look him in his eye. I got to shake his hand. I got to let him know it's going to be okay. You're loved. You're not in alone. You're not bad. Situations change. And there's times that we've all needed help. This is just your turn. Not long ago, I was on your side of the table. And now I'm on this side. And not long from now, someone else may be on that side of the table, and you may be on this side. And when you do, remember this moment, because you can remember how it feels to be on that side, because that's what I'm remembering right now. I'm not judging it. I'm remembering back when I was there. Just take a mental snapshot so that you can remember when you get to meet the person who's on that side, when you're over on this side, just what you need. You're loved. God loves you. This could be okay. Now here's some things that may help with the journey. Here's what we could put together for you. And we prayed and we talked and we got to know him a little bit. And long story short, he did spend the next couple nights under the bridge at Sykes Creek, where he had shelter, but he had some warmth from his sleeping bag, he had some food, he had some stuff. But we've worked with him, and he's now, I believe, if not yesterday, then tomorrow, but sometime in the right now period, getting into transitional housing for the homeless vets. Walmart had donated 50 new bicycles for the homeless vets. He qualified, he got one, he's now got a brand new bike to go to his campsite, and that way he can get to and from job interviews and some of these different things. Got access to phones, got access to being able to send out some resumes, to getting on his feet. And there's some jobs that are opening up for him. And like I said, he didn't get his apartment last night, he's getting it tonight or tomorrow night, but it's right in this right now kind of time period. We hooked him up. Steve hooked him up with some great people, and we helped fill that gap in between point A and point B for him. But anyway, Ray called this week, and he said, I want to let you know just how much that meant to me, man. And I want you to thank those people that you talked to me about. But even though they don't know me, they touched my life and they changed my life. I'm gonna be one of the success stories. I'm gonna be. And I'm already doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and I'm doing this, and some of the stuff you gave me I shared with this guy, and with this guy, and with this guy, and with this guy, and with this guy. I got to experience both sides of gratitude this week. On the giving, on the receiving. Both sides filled me up past the top, where it overflowed. This week is Thanksgiving. Gratitude's holiday. I invite you this week to look at me today. To look into your heart, to look into your life, to see all the things that you are so thankful for, you are so grateful for. And just like in the skit with the low, medium, and high, there's no right answer. Just what's right for you. The psychological studies would say, the more gratitude you have, that it's not a gift that you give to someone else. It's a gift that you give to yourself. Because it's not indebtedness. Ray isn't indebted to us. But his gratitude filled me up, filled us all up. We're inside of all of us right now is the feeling of, what can we do for Ray? What else can we do? I think I could do this. What else can we do? Ray's taken care of. He's hooked up right now. When we share that gratitude, we're inspired to do more. When we don't, it leaves us lacking, wanting for something different, more, better. It leaves us always chasing. I invite you this week to look into your lives, look into your heart, look into your experience. And allow your gratitude just overflow there.